Hola Aguilas, it's Miss Bree, and today our read aloud is called Add a Twist Scientist. It is written by Andrea Beatty and it's illustrated by David Roberts. So sit back, grab a snack, and enjoy the read aloud. Add a Twist Scientist. Ada Marie, said not a word till the day she turned 3. She bounced in her crib and looked all around, observing the world, but not making a sound. She learned how to climb and made her big break, with a trail of chaos left in her wake. She ran through the day, chasing each sound in sight, and didn't slow down till she conked out at night. Her parents were frazzled but tried not to freak, as Ada grew bigger and still did not speak. Clearly young Ada, with lots in her head, would have something to say when it ought to be said. That's just what happened when Ada turned 3. She tore through the house on a fact-finding spree and climbed up the clock just as high as she could. Her parents yelled, "Stop!" as all good parents would. Ada's chin quivered, but she tried not to cry. She took a deep breath and simply asked, why? Why does it tick and why does it talk? Why don't we call it a granddaughter clock? Why are there pointy things stuck to a rose? Why are there hairs up inside of your nose? She started with why, then what, how, and when. By bedtime, she came back to why once again. She drifted to sleep as her dazed parents smiled at the curious thoughts of their curious child who wanted to know what the world was about. They kissed her and whispered, "You'll figure it out." Her parents kept up with their high-flying kid whose questions and chaos both grew as she did. Why? What? How? When? Why? What is it for? Why won't it? How can I find out? What does it do? When will it? What if? Why will it? Even Miss Greer found her hands were quite full when young Ada's chaos wreaked havoc at school. But this much was clear about Miss Ada Twist: she had all the traits of a great scientist. Ada was busy the first day of spring, testing the sounds that mockingbirds sing, when a horrible stench whacked her right in the nose. A pungent aroma that curled up her toes. "Zowie," said Ada, which got her thinking. What is the source of the terrible stinking? How does a nose know there's something to smell? And does it still stink if there's no nose to tell? She rattled off questions and tapped on her chin. She'd start at the start where she ought to begin. A mystery, a riddle, a puzzle, a quest. This was the moment that Ada loved best. Ada did research to learn all she could of smelling and smells, both stinky and good. One hypothesis Ada thought could be true: a terrible stink came from Dad's cabbage stew. She tested and tested, but soon Ada knew it was time to come up with hypothesis 2. Then zowie, the stink struck again, just like that. Hypothesis 2, it's caused by the cat. The cat couldn't make such a stink on its own. It needed perfume and some fancy cologne. So young Ada tested. The test was a flop again, but her parents yelled, "Stop! Ada Marie, to the thinking chair now. By the time we count 3. Enough," said her mother. "That's it," said her dad. Her parents were frustrated, frazzled, and mad. "Why?" Ada questioned. Her mother said, "No." "What?" Ada queried. Her father said, "Go! You've ruined our supper. You've made the cat stink. Enough with your questions. Now sit there and think." She looked at her parents. Her heart turned to goo. Poor Ada Twist didn't know what to do. She sat all alone by herself in the hall, and Ada once more could say nothing at all. So Ada sat, and she sat, and she sat, and she thought about science and Stu and the cat, and how her experiments made such a big mess. Does it have to be so? Is that part of success? Are messes the problem? And while she was thinking, What was the source of that terrible stinking? Anna Marie did what scientists do. She asked a small question, and then she asked two, and each of those led her to 3 questions more, and some of those questions resulted in 4. As Ada got thinking, she really dug in. She scribbled her questions and tapped on her chin. She started at why, then what, how, and when, and at the end of the hall, she reached why once again. Her parents calmed down and they came back to talk. They looked at the hallway and just had to gawk. No patch of bare paint could be seen on the wall, and the thinking chair now was the great thinking hall. They watched their young daughter and sighed as they did. What would they do with this curious kid, and who wanted to know what the world was about? They smiled and whispered, "We'll figure it out." And that's what they did, because that's what you do when your kid has a passion and a heart that is true. They remade their world. Now they're all in the act of helping young Ada sort fiction from fact. She asked lots of questions. How could she resist? It's all in the heart of a young scientist. And as for that smell, what can Ada Twist do but learn all she can with her friends in grade 2? Will they discover the stink that curls toes? Well, that is a question, and someday, who knows? I hope you guys enjoyed this read aloud. We also have Iggy Peck, architect, Rosie Revere, engineer, and I bought all of the cute little chapter books as well. So let's go ahead and get into the takeaways. What is a scientist? Ada always creates a hypothesis in the book. Do you guys know what a hypothesis is? Ada Twist has all of the traits of a great scientist. What were those traits? If you guys don't know the answer to these questions, make sure you ask your maestra or your maestro, and I'm sure they will be happy to tell you all of the answers to those questions. Anna Marie was so misunderstood the whole book and just wanted to learn and see how things work. I can relate to Ada Twist a lot because I was that girl, and even though you may not know, I loved science in school, and I still love science. Not a math girl, but I do love science, and I wanted to know how things work. I would get made fun of by the other kids in my class because they would just want me to be quiet, stop asking questions, and just get through the lesson. At the end of my 8th grade year, I received the science award for my entire graduating class at promotion. My teacher shared how I would always stump her and ask in-depth questions, and she just loved that about me. I share this with you guys to encourage you to be your own authentic self and to always ask your teachers questions. Don't worry about making your friends or others happy and trying to be cool and silent whenever they're asking you for feedback. Be authentically you, just like Ada Twist. I hope that you guys enjoyed today's read aloud. The end of Black History Month is near, which makes me sad. I hope that you guys have enjoyed all of our read alouds and you are tuning in. If you guys missed out, Hair Like Mine and Skin Like Mine was last week. So don't forget to check those out, subscribe, and like. Have a great week.